Welcome to the Harshi Podcast.
Welcome.
With myself, January.
And Brandon.
Well, it's been a hot minute, but we're still here. We are still here. We are in the process of adjusting to a little bit of a slow down life, as slowed down as possible with 6 children.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever slows down. Maybe simplified.
Okay, so it's feeling a little more simplified, which ironically has taken a lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes
Simplifying is hard.
It is. It has taken a lot of work. No, it's not simple to simplify.
It's kind of complicated, actually.
Yeah, it is. You know, that actually sounds like a great podcast topic.
Yeah, it does, actually.
But tonight we're going to be talking about why vegan. But before we do, we have a sponsor to talk about real quick.
We do. MRM.
MRM. They are amazing. I actually got connected with them through Natalie Hodson. If you don't know who Natalie Hodson is, her Instagram is Natalie Hodson1 and her Facebook is Natalie Hodson. And she connected us with MRM because they have a really wonderful vegan line. They're an incredible company. We've actually visited their headquarters.
Yeah, in Oceanside.
In Oceanside, California. We visited there with our kids that ran around the warehouse and played hide and seek and tag. And we had a lot of fun and got to see what they were up to and the quality of their products. Not to mention the love of their team. I think most people have been there just for years and years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so we got to meet them. We got to see where it all happens. And we've been using the MRM supplements now for how long?
Well over 3 years for sure.
Yeah, they're the only ones we turn to at this point because when you know something is the best, you really don't want anything else.
Yeah, well, and they're certified GMP, which stands for Good Manufacturing Practices. And that essentially means that if for some reason the FDA wanted to regulate the supplement company, they're one of the companies that could actually prove that
they are what they say they are.
Yeah, exactly. That they're legit.
Okay, but not only that, now, and they have non-vegan, things as well, but their vegan protein and their other supplements is actually really good.
Yeah.
And tastes good too. Now, people ask, well, does it taste like a protein powder? Well, yes, honey, it is a protein powder. I mean, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But for what it is, it really is good. And we love, and I got this from Natalie, we love mixing it with coffee.
Yes.
We'll make coffee protein drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I love it with the cinnamon bun. You love it with the vanilla.
Yeah,
correct?
Vanilla gives it like a vanilla latte.
Yeah.
Flavor.
And the BCAAs are super yummy.
Yep. They have vegan branched chain amino acids
and
fermented.
They have the Island, what is
Island Punch.
Island Punch.
Yeah.
And then watermelon too, right?
Yes.
Oh, so see, yummy. And then we love their hydration factor. So if you're just needing help with, literally hydration.
Yeah.
And I take it with me when I travel on trips. If I start feeling a little dehydrated or I get a headache, I mix them up in water and feel instantly better.
It's a million times healthier than Gatorade, and it tastes like Kool-Aid.
It does taste like Kool-Aid.
It's insanely freaky how good it is.
Yeah, they have, and if you want a treat, instead of mixing it with water, you take the grape and you mix it with lemonade.
And then you got Purplesaurus Rex Kool-Aid.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. It's like a throwback to my childhood.
Yeah, it's so good. Anyways, if you can't tell, we legitimately love MRM and their products, and we and the kids use them on a daily basis.
Yep.
And we do have a code with them. It's Harshi in all caps. So it's HARSHE in all caps. And I think it's 40%
off at checkout.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome discount.
Yeah, so check them out. We love them. We stand by them. And it's actually really fun that we get to talk about them on today's podcast, and goes in line with our topic for tonight, which is why are you vegan? I get asked that a lot. And I don't know what people are expecting, like maybe some enlightened awakening moment, but that's not what it was. So I guess I'll answer a little bit first because your why started with my why.
Yeah, I just I was a follower. I was a sheep.
Well, I was always one of those people who would say, I would love to be vegetarian, not vegan, because I can't not have cheese. I can't do that. I can't. What do you do about cheese? Right. And so I always talked about being vegetarian, but I just talked about it. I didn't actually do it. What is that called? Ignoring.
Ignoring.
And then about 4 or 5 years ago, we did watch Earthlings, which I would never watch again, not because I don't believe it all or think it's all valid, but because I couldn't stomach it. But we watched that and I immediately said, I need to be vegan. Like, I can't do this. Even you did for a while. You were like, oh my gosh, I can never, ever eat that again.
Yeah.
And that lasted for maybe 6 weeks, maybe. And, you know, when you are stuck in a way of life or a way of eating, and it is daunting, I think, to change that whole entire practice, and it changes your daily routine. It changes your grocery list. It changes, you know, a lot of things. And I just really wasn't prepared for that. And so then I went back to being the annoying person who always talked about how I wanted to be vegan, but I couldn't be. So what happened for me is when I became pregnant with our last baby, I dealt with migraines in that pregnancy, and I'm married to a chiropractor, right? And we would do everything. And there was 1 month in that pregnancy that I had a migraine every day for almost a month. And you would adjust me, and I would take warm baths with like cold peas on the back of my neck, and, you know, talk to my OB about it and my midwife about it. And I took Tylenol, and I had to go buy Tylenol because we don't usually keep that in the house. And they just wouldn't go away. And towards the end of this month, there was maybe a few days, or, you know, 4, 5, 6 days where I didn't eat any animals, and my migraine went away. It could have been chalked up to a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidences anyways, but that's another story. And so I stayed away from eating meat for, you know, about a month. I don't remember exactly how long. I'm not good with time, but for a little while. And then I, you know, eased back into eating it because that's what I did. That's what my diet consisted of. Well, everything was okay. And then right early on postpartum, the migraines came back. And here I was recovering from a cesarean and had a brand new baby, was dealing with engorgement, you know, all the other things that go on with life of parents, you know, many kids and postpartum. And my migraines came back, and it was like, oh, hell no. There's just no way. Like, you can't think, you know, your toddler or your kid runs in, they want to talk to you about something. And it's like, you can't even, right?
They're debilitating.
They are. And I thought, no way. So I cut out meat and dairy for a week or two and made sure that they were staying cleared up. Well, I decided then, I guess I'll be vegetarian. My body is finally saying, you've been thinking about this forever, girl. We're just going to help you along, right? Most dairy I had was like my half and half of my coffee. It was a thing for me. I had to have my coffee a certain way. And so I had a big coffee with half and half in it. And I didn't make the connection right away, but I had severe intestinal pain. And at the time I thought the inside of my stitches on the inside, I thought they were ripping open. And I got a hold of my OB. I'm like, I think something's going on. I think my cesarean's opening, you know, I don't know what to do. And I realized either later that day or the next day that the baby was crying and inconsolable. And that's when the light bulb went off in my sleep deprived brain that it was the dairy. My recovery was going fine with my C-section. It was the dairy. And I couldn't believe how much pain it was causing me and my baby. So that was another nudge to push me away from dairy as well. And I will say that's the kicker, because that shit's addicting and everyone knows it. Mm-hmm. And we all just accept it. And many people know it really makes them feel like crap, but we're so addicted to it, we don't care. We just turn a blind eye because we want to have that cheese or that dairy. So I couldn't do that anymore. So for me, why vegan is my body made me, pretty much. And, you know, I wasn't mad about it. I was very devastated over getting over my addiction to dairy. And I will admit I cried. I really did.
You did cry.
I did cry. I was so frustrated by it, because when you have an attachment to something and then you're like, you can't have that anymore. It's like your toy getting taken away when you're a toddler. And I just threw a full on temper tantrum.
I want my cheese.
I want my half now. Oh my God. So my body pushed me into it. And it took me about 3 weeks to get over my really intense cravings for dairy and over my butt hurt about it. And that was over 3 years ago. And so 3 weeks out of 3 years that I was having a hard time. Now, my coffee became a thing for a while because now I had to make it differently. And so I think I bought every single creamer, every single sugar, every single kind of vegan whipped cream. And my coffee making in the morning at home became an ordeal.
It was epic.
But you know what? I had to do what I had to do to get used to it.
That's when we started making cold brew.
Yeah, it is. Now give me a little almond milk and stevia and I'm good. But it took me some time, and that's okay. That's all right. So that's why vegan for me. Now, even if I were not to have migraines or I were not to have intestinal pain, I would stay vegan for other reasons, for my health in general, for my health of my heart, for the health of my body, for the animals and for the environment. I just absolutely would stay plant-based for sure, because I completely believe in all the positive reasons to stay vegan. So that's my why, but now my why has shifted to be basically all of the above, vegan for all the reasons, personally for me. So how about you?
Well, as we said, I was kind of a follower. And actually what happened is I was on a paleo-ish style of eating. I don't want to say diet because I don't diet personally, but that was just my style of eating. I definitely ate a lot of meat, veggies. I kept my grains to a minimum, if not at all, most of the time. And I decided I wanted something a little bit different, so I was going to try just being a pescatarian for a little bit. And so that was going fine and going well. And
That's cute.
Yeah, it was super cute. And then I realized after about a week or so, I'd been pescatarian for 2 weeks. But the second week, by the end of the second week, I realized, I don't think I've actually had any animal products this entire week.
Because we were eating our meals together.
Yeah, we were eating our meals together. And if you've listened to our podcast in the past, you probably heard us talk about how we do pretty much everything together.
Yeah.
So that's about what happened. And so I accidentally just kind of got into it and I felt fine. And actually what happened is I started gaining a whole hell of a lot of muscle and strength in the gym just in that first month of being vegan.
Which blew your mind.
It blew my mind. I went from 208 pounds up to 216 in 1 month, and that was essentially all muscle. It was crazy how...
So it blew those misconceptions out of the water for you.
Yeah.
But where do you get your protein? That's like one of the most common
and that's
questions.
What's crazy. So the first month of being vegan, after a few weeks, 3-4 weeks, I had to rein it in because I was getting way more protein than I felt I needed. I was getting upwards of like 250 grams of protein a day, being vegan, straight vegan, no honey, no eggs, no meat, no nothing except, plant, tofu, beans, things like that. And I mean, granted, I was eating a lot because I was kind of in my powerlifting phase, but
plant-based protein is bomb.
Yeah, well, protein is protein. People want to say there's differences in this and that, and let's be real. Protein is you're getting It's made up of 20 amino acids, and you get those amino acids in your body's gonna know what to do with
I wish you guys could see him. He's got hand gestures going.
Oh yeah.
He's got facial expressions going.
Well, I used to be one of those people that would think like, well, when you're vegan, how do you get enough protein if you're into working out and fitness and sports and things like that? And then after about a month of doing it, oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah. There's a lot of athletes debunking that now too.
Yeah, there are.
It's becoming more and more common, and there's the myths and misconceptions around it are being, they're shedding light on them, and changing the conversation around a plant-based diet or vegan diet, which is neat. So you are like Oreos. You were accidentally vegan.
Yeah, I was accidentally vegan, and I was actually straight vegan for 2 years before last year around.
As opposed to crooked vegan?
As opposed to crooked or sneaky or, But sometime last summer, I think, I started eating some fish again.
Yeah, you
did. Fish and eggs. And a few months back, I decided to get rid of the fish again. And I do eat eggs, but other than the eggs, everything else is vegan.
Yeah, so there are some vegans who will get eggs from, backyards or, Vital Farms is a commercial, in the grocery store that are, our oldest is an advocate vegan, and if she approves of it, then we know it's okay. So
yeah, we research all that stuff.
We do.
If they're cruelty-free eggs, and I just don't have any issues with it.
So what a point I want to make about what you said is you went back to eating fish. First of all, no fish. You can't eat fish when you're vegan. People are like, oh, well, it's just chicken.
You can have chicken when you're vegan, right?
Okay, Grandma, sit down. So, but you mentioned that, and by the time you started eating fish again, our whole household was vegan. Now, one side note I want to make on that is we did not turn all of our kids vegan. We did not make them choose to eat vegan. We told them it was completely up to them, and we support them no matter what. And one by one, they shifted into a plant-based vegan diet. And I think the 14-year-old is probably the biggest culprit in that. But they're all healthy. They're all healthy. They're all thriving. They're all just amazing, beautiful, smart, intelligent, healthy children. And I think that's another myth and misconception that's being debunked. And a few of them do eat eggs along with you. So that was a side note. But what I wanted to say about you eating fish again is that when I say and I preach, you do, you boo, I really do mean that. And so here I am, pretty hardcore vegan, very strong in my beliefs about factory farming and animal advocacy and, all of these things. And I don't preach it online. I just show the yummy food I eat and hope it inspires some people. And here you are in our home and you started eating fish again, and we all were respectful of that, and you were respectful of us. Like you would just get frozen packets, cook it separately, eat it yourself. There are a lot of people that say, well, I can't go vegan because my spouse isn't. And it's like, actually you can. Like, you are your own person and you get to choose what you do for your body. The key is that the two of you respect one another, because if you start giving them a hard time, they're going to become more defensive and more opposed to the changes you're making. And if they give you a hard time, that's just going to make something you're trying to do for yourself even harder. So just have a common respect for one another, even if you're choosing to eat a different type of diet or lifestyle, as you said, choices in your home. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be all one way or the other way.
Well, one thing I was going to say with when I was straight vegan for 2 years, I know I keep saying straight vegan, but that's like the best way to describe it to me.
It's because in chiropractic, there's the term straight chiropractors.
Yeah.
That's I knew the moment you said it, that's where it's coming from. So
yeah, straight chiropractors and the mixers.
Yeah. Oh, now you just open a whole other can of worms.
I wasn't criticizing anyone. I was just outlining the stupid debate that goes on in the
Aren't most debates
profession.
Stupid because they don't change anyone's mind?
Yeah, exactly.
When you debate
like,
and argue.
Oh, you're a mixer. You're straight.
Just share information and support one another.
I really got into a lot of strength training, powerlifting, and I didn't really ever have any chance of being a professional competitive powerlifter or strongman competitor or anything like that. But my strength increased significantly, and I got the strongest I've ever been in my life being vegan. I hit my max bench and squat last April, and then my max deadlift was the December of 2016. And that was just eating 100% vegan plant-based diet, and pretty impressive how strong you can actually get.
It was pretty neat. It was pretty neat to see from someone's perspective who wasn't doing it for other health issues or for the animals, but you were into powerlifting and things like that, and then to see the results, the physical results from eating that way was really neat. Do you feel there's a difference between vegan and plant-based?
There is.
I think so too.
There is heavily, because there is a whole hell of a lot of junk food you can eat as vegan.
Absolutely. It's so good.
And yes, technically
sugar's
it's
vegan.
all plant-based. It's all coming from plants because it wouldn't be vegan if it wasn't. However, plant-based means you're eating vegetables and fruits and nuts and seeds and that sort of thing often, whereas you can get a lot of processed, substitute meats and
so good. Makes me sick though.
Oreos.
Yeah, I know Oreos. I always get at least one hate DM when I post about Oreos being vegan, and it's like, thank you for the feedback, Susan. So
you're promoting obesity.
I'm always promoting something that I didn't know I was promoting. It's kind of amazing. It's like, oh, I am. I didn't know that.
You're promoting diabetes.
Thank you. I'll add it to my list of things that I'm promoting, because I'm apparently promoting a whole lot of shit.
I know. So ridiculous.
But the first 2 to 2.5 years that I was vegan, I was definitely vegan, but I was not plant-based. When I started having gallbladder issues, I started shifting more into plant-based. When I had the really bad one in September, I went pretty much fully plant-based diet. I'm always vegan, but within everything, there's variations of normal, which is one of my favorite sayings, as you know. So no matter how you're choosing to eat or how you're needing to eat, there's variations of normal within that. And it wouldn't do me any good to give anyone else a hard time or anyone give me a hard time, because we're all on our own journey. So in September, I went very plant-based. I went into juicing only, and then juicing and low-fat raw vegan, and then juicing low-fat gluten-free vegan for quite a few months. And then this last month, I gave myself a little bit of a break, meaning I started eating some, breads and gluten and treats again. And then I've been reining that back into making sure I'm adding more juice back in and gluten-free. I just feel I don't have to be, everyone's like gotten on the gluten-free bandwagon. And I wonder how people with celiac disease feel about that. Cause it's not funny. But for me personally, when I eat a lot of, gluten, I just feel more inflamed and heavy. And so I love feeling a little bit lighter. And with somebody who has gallbladder issues, like your digestive system gets really testy really quick. And so the more plant-based, low fat, less processed things that I eat, and the more plant-based and light foods, as I call them, I eat, then, the better I feel overall and the better I sleep. And, I like to poop without fear. I actually love to poop now, just if you were wondering.
That's wonderful.
Like every time I poop, I'm like, yes, that was awesome. I legit give myself a gold star for pooping. Because you know what? We don't talk about this, okay? We don't talk about this. And a lot of people who switch to plant-based or dairy-free or vegan or whatever it is within that, whatever you're needing to do within those things, a lot of people have irritable bowel syndrome. Everyone talks about, IBS is IBS. And it's like, IBS means you're eating a shit diet, literally, and you can't shit. So, that's really what it comes down to. And there's this whole intestinal health that we never talk about. And I had to learn so much about my intestinal health. And so now, gold star, because I pooped good.
Gastrointestinal system is very important. It's almost got its own little mini nervous system, separate from our central nervous system. So it's very important to take good care of your gastrointestinal tract.
The more stressed I am, the more resentful I feel, the more heavy foods I eat, all affect my gallbladder and my intestines and my whole digestive system. So I've learned more about that all in the last 6 months to 2 years than I have my whole entire life, because I don't really talk about it. I'm just going to take this, or I'm just going to take that, or, I'm going to take this lactose pill so I can still have this. And it's that's the mindset of our culture. And it's actually, you could just not take either. You could not drink the dairy from the cow that was raped, impregnated, and forced to have milk without its baby cow, and you could have one of the 10 alternative readily available plant-based milk, and then not take your lactose pills or have intestinal pain. But that's just me. You do you, boo. You do you.
It's interesting because dairy was not an issue for me because I've always had a dairy sensitivity my entire life.
You mean not an issue for you to give up?
To give up, yes.
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
And I was already not really having dairy. I'm not going to lie, I did have pizza from time to time.
Yeah.
And I just sucked up how I felt from the cheese the next day or two, because it literally would be like a day or two where I'd feel like I'd have the flu after eating dairy.
I'm only laughing because it's what we do and what we put ourselves through to eat certain things.
Just to appease our taste
I've done
buds.
it too. I mean, I've done it my whole life, right? I know.
Well, with dairy, I don't get the intestinal pain that most lactose intolerant people get. I get this huge phlegm buildup in my throat and in my sinuses, and it's crazy. I literally feel like I'm getting allergies or cold, or I used to sometimes eat at Cece's Pizza. I'd feel like I had the flu for 2 days. Okay, that did make
me sick too. That's a whole different thing. Oh my God.
But I did pig out on all the pizza.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe that's part of it.
When you eat 10 of them.
Yeah.
So you didn't struggle with being dairy free because you mostly already were. Was there anything that you did struggle with?
There really wasn't. Like I said, I accidentally was vegan for a week. I wasn't even trying until I actually consciously thought about it. So it really wasn't that difficult for me. And then when I picked up fish again last year, I'd always kind of had in my mind that I would probably eat fish again in my life because I've always loved seafood. And I had it and I got it out of my system, and then I just realized
this isn't really
I'm
benefiting
a fan of sea creatures most of all.
So you don't want to eat them anymore?
No.
That's nice of you.
I'm a huge fan of sharks, and I got 2 shark tattoos. So
yeah, you have a lot of sea.
I got an entire sea creature mural on my right arm. So
you're going to be their friend?
I'm going to be their friend and not eat them.
Well, just so you know, you being vegan does make your sexy points go way up to me.
Well, that's good.
So if there's no other reason,
having more get me laid.
Getting laid more is a great reason to be vegan.
Like, I love all the animals.
Why are you vegan? Because I have more orgasms. Because you eat that way? Yes, because my wife likes it when I eat that way.
Man.
Isn't that funny that that's what some people will get out of this? Oh yeah, did you hear? Daniel and Brandon are vegan because they have more orgasms when they eat that way. And that's the summary of this podcast.
Brandon said they were promoting obesity and diabetes.
Oh my God. I love it. Oh goodness. So that's our story as to kind of how we became vegan. It was, I don't watch any of the documentaries. I don't, because it's not going to change anything for me, because I'm already a believer in that, and and it will just upset me. So
I can't say I'm 100% vegan right now just because I do eat eggs.
Yeah, you're vegan.
But yeah, vegan, or I like to call it veganish.
Veganish?
I'm veganish.
Yeah, vegans love that. No. If you actually look on Instagram, you do #VEGGAN. There are people who are like, I'm vegan, but I eat responsibly, source eggs or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting farm fresh eggs and the chickens are just out wandering around and laying eggs, it's not a big deal.
Do you know who it matters to? You.
Me.
The end.
Yep.
It really doesn't matter what anyone else
Period.
thinks. Yeah. It really literally does not matter what anyone else thinks.
That's good, because I don't care what anyone thinks.
I always tell people not to put me into labels, because I'll probably smash right out of that that box.
When it comes to caring what other people think of how I run my life, I care even less than someone who doesn't care.
I don't know if I followed that, because
that's how little I care.
I'm tired and I haven't had my nightly coffee, so I don't even know. I'll have to listen back to understand what you just said right there. Oh my goodness. Well, I know a lot of people are really interested in plant-based or dairy-free but not vegan, or vegan, and so on our next episode, we're going to follow up by sharing, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 tips in starting a vegan or plant-based lifestyle that might, benefit you or help you, or even if you're just wanting to add more into it, if you're not completely wanting to be plant-based, vegan, whatever you want to call it, then, maybe just adding, you want to do one meal a day, that is, or a lot of people like to do meatless Monday, or, whatever it is. So we'll share those tips.
Raw until 4.
Oh no.
Fruit until noon.
I mean, how many more things could we come up with like that?
I don't know.
I mean, coffee till midnight. That's mine.
Pineapples until 1:15. What the hell is that?
Pineapples till 1:15. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Oh goodness. And then our oldest wants to do another follow-up podcast on really getting deep into veganism for those that are interested. She really, really wants to do that with us. So
yeah, she wants to get into the ethical reasons.
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in that,
and that kid knows her stuff.
She does know her stuff.
She can hang.
She knows way more than me.
Yeah.
And so the next podcast will be really fun. I love when there's tips and different stuff like that. So that's going to be really fun. And I have things that helped me when I was transitioning into it. So if you're still with us, all orders will be shipped out or refunded by May 15th. And if you use the code Shitty Shippers, please do not DM me or email me, because that's ridiculous. Secondly, if you are wanting to come to the Winnipeg, Canada conference, we have a venue and we were able to open 50 more tickets. And that conference sold out so fast that I know there are people that did not get tickets, or that did not get their friend or their partner tickets. So go to bwfconference.com and grab your tickets to Winnipeg. That is in October 13th. Yes. And then Sydney is less than a month away now.
Yes.
Holy crap. I booked my plane ticket I'm going to buy all the books and download all the music. I need like a pillow to sit on. My tailbone gets pissed. So I gotta figure out all my travel arrangements, but my tickets are booked, and there's, I think, 12 tickets left to that. And then that's it. We're at capacity.
It's exciting.
I know. We announced a guest speaker today. We have one more guest speaker to announce. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And Doula Training International is a sponsor of the Sydney conference, and we'll be talking more about them next week as well. So anyways, we love you guys. Until next time.
Adios.